If you're like me, you remember old Total War games, like the original Rome or Medieval, with a sense of fondness. They were a simpler, more casual experience with fewer decisions and consequently less decision fatigue. And the decisions were usually clear. Spend money to upgrade your armies, choose your battles wisely, and paint the map with the color of your faction. But newer Total War games, while they might have improved graphics, more exciting battles, and more game in general, they're exhausting for me to play. The vast scope of the games present a daunting challenge just to learn. So, I wanted to make a game that gives that Total War fantasy without the huge time investment and decision fatigue. It needs to have a grand strategy component while also having that zoomed in battle simulation. I have other goals as well, but I'm starting here. The first thing I tried is inspired by those animations of historic battles, you know, the ones where the divisions are represented as squares that shatter when they're defeated and they charge at each other. So I created a battle square AI that would deploy itself on the field of battle and face off against each other. Here is a simple red versus blue lineup of some infantry supported by archers. Since one of my core design pillars is keeping fatigue low, the first UI item I added was the time control buttons in the top right. The units are all simulated physics rigid bodies in Unity. The damage they do is based on their mass and velocity and some other stats when they collide with an enemy unit. Each collision has a little effects to go with it to show when damage is being done. I also want to add effects for death and low health states. The two sides here are evenly matched in this battle, and the uncertainty about who will win creates tension and drama right up to the last second. In older Total War games, the auto-resolve feature did have some risk built in, but in the newer ones it tells you the likely outcome before you even start the battle. In the grand strategy component of my game, I wanted to make assessing the odds of victory yourself be a fun and interesting decision when going into these battles, but I'll show that in a future devlog. The next thing I did was add cavalry. A unit of cavalry is smaller than a typical column of troops, and they often ride in the classic delta formation. So I tried introducing a new shape for the cavalry, a triangle. Here's what happens when we give blue some cavalry units. As everyone knows, the only way to beat cavalry is with spearmen. Instead of giving spearmen a flat bonus against cavalry, like in many games, I use the physics system in the same way that spear counter cavalry IRL. Spearmen do damage based on the enemy mass and velocity. This means anyone running at full speed towards a group of spearmen will take damage, but cavalry, who go much faster, will take much more damage. Not all archer formations need to be firing volleys in a static formation like longbowmen, so I introduced a skirmisher unit that can kite enemies while firing arrows. This gives this unit an almost unbeatable advantage in battle, so I mitigate that by giving them a limited ammo pool so they can't kite an entire enemy army permanently. I also slowed them down a bit while running backwards, so other fast unit types could catch up with them eventually. The next evolution of the skirmisher is the horse archer unit. I combined the cavalry triangle with the skirmishing logic and added some extra strafing behavior to make horse archers that could strafe and harass an enemy while safely being out of range. They are also, like the Skirmisher, subject to having limited ammo and some movement speed reduction while strafing, to mitigate the fact that they can outrun any other unit and dodge arrows from other archers and horse archers. This is assuming they don't accidentally strafe into a unit of spearmen and kill themselves. It is an auto-battler. Things happen. At this point, all an army needs to do to win is protect its ranged units, who will do most of the killing from a distance. They can shoot down cavalry and infantry alike before they get too close. So some units will need armor to prevent this. Armored units will be more expensive to recruit, but they have a flat chance to block incoming projectiles and also mitigate a percentage of incoming damage from melee. With armor, the heavy infantry, the heavy cavalry, and heavy spearmen units are introduced. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments what you thought. Next time I'll talk about another important game that inspired me to make this, and the systems for units with special abilities to buff, debuff, and cast devastating spells. See you next time.